While driving home from work one night, following my usual route, it was around midnight, perhaps 12:15 a.m. My town, known for its quiet and uneventful nature, was surrounded by vast woods with scarce houses and people. As I traveled along a road not far from my house, a cornfield stretched out on one side while a patch of woods occupied the other. It was a midsummer night with a pleasant temperature of around 75 degrees, prompting me to have the convertible top of my car down. Enjoying the leisurely cruise at about 50 miles per hour, suddenly a piercing and blood-curdling scream of a woman shattered the silence. The source of the scream was unclear, as I couldn't determine which side of the road it came from. Reacting swiftly, I slammed on the brakes, bringing the car to an abrupt halt, and strained my ears to listen. Another cry, seemingly from the left side in the woods, echoed through the night, a woman's desperate plea for help. Without hesitation, I alighted from my car and retrieved the baton from the back seat. Advancing towards the woods, I called out to inquire who was there, and the woman immediately responded, pleading for assistance. Fueled by a mix of concern and adrenaline, I plunged into the woods, pushing aside twigs and bushes in my path. The woman intermittently screamed for help, enabling me to four terrifying true night drive horror stories, English zeroing on her location, running and responding in kind. However, I soon realized an unsettling truth. Regardless of how far I ventured into the woods, the woman's cries did not grow closer or louder. If anything, they remained at a consistent distance, undeterred by my vigorous approach. It became apparent that even though I sprinted directly towards the direction of her screams, the sound never seemed to draw any nearer. Frantically, I implored the woman to inform me of her whereabouts, and she dutifully responded with another cry for help. Approximately 5 seconds later, a wave of apprehension washed over me, sensing that something was amiss. It seemed as though I had unknowingly stumbled into a potential trap. Swiftly changing course, I turned around and retraced my steps, running back in the direction I had come from. With every stride, I could catch glimpses of my car's headlights, flashing on the side of the road through the thick foliage. Throughout my retreat, I continued to hear the woman's screams, persisting at the same distance, as if she were tailing me back. Feeling unnerved, I hastily reached my car and swiftly departed from the area, overcome by a sense of profound unease. I immediately contacted the authorities via 911, reporting the incident and urging them to investigate. However, I had no intentions of lingering in that vicinity. Exhausted and emotionally shaken, I shared the strange encounter with a select few friends and family, eager to move forward with my life. Unfortunately, my sense of closure was short-lived. A week later, the news delivered a shocking blow, leaving me sickened to my core. The lifeless body of a woman in her 30s had been discovered in the woods by a hiker accompanied by his dog. Bafflingly, there were no apparent signs of foul play. The location where the body was found coincided with the general vicinity where I had heard those distressing screams. Although the patch of woods was extensive, I couldn't shake the haunting feeling that this connection was too significant to be dismissed as mere coincidence. Story 2. When I was 17, I found myself in my first relationship. Following my parents' divorce when I was 11, I resided with my mom. One day, I mustered up the courage to ask my girlfriend out on a date, and she happily agreed. As both of us held jobs, with me working at a local grocery store and her at Starbucks, we often had day shifts. Additionally, we were in our senior year of high school. Seizing the opportunity, I asked her out on a date that Friday since we had minimal homework to worry about after work. I picked up my girlfriend from her house and we headed to a small, affordable restaurant located a short 10-minute drive away from my place. After our meal, we decided to spend some quality time together at her house, and by that time, darkness had descended. My girlfriend expressed her disappointment about our relatively short date night. I explained that my limited finances restricted our options, which led us to strike a compromise, embarking on a night drive. We meandered through town before venturing onto an empty road within the woods. Eventually, the pavement gave way to a dirt road, and I found myself in dire need of a bathroom break. My girlfriend, too, had to relieve herself. We pulled over and exited the car, only to be greeted by an inexplicably putrid smell. brushing it off as someone else nearby taking care of their own needs. I attributed my girlfriend's reaction of disgust to the foul odor. Deciding to quickly relieve ourselves and return to the car to head back into town, we identified a flat area nearby suitable for our purposes. After attending to our needs, we began making our way back to the car. However, as we retraced our steps, an eerie noise emanated from the left side, resembling the sound of a snapping twig. Fearing it might be an animal, we hastened our pace to reach the safety of the car. Just as I was about to open my car door, a scream pierced the air, rife with fear or pain, seemingly originating from the same direction where my girlfriend and I had just relieved ourselves. Determined to investigate, I assured my girlfriend that she should wait inside the locked car for her safety while I ventured forth. Gathering what little courage I had left, I proceeded towards the sound. Yet, as I neared the source, my resolve wavered. The proximity of the scream rattled me, dissolving my determination. Instead of proceeding further, I opted to use the flash on my phone, capturing a quick photograph. As the flash illuminated the area, I caught sight of a man in a white shirt with black stripes, holding a blue tarp before him. He simply stood there, motionless. Without a second thought, I sprinted back to the car, unlocked the doors, and leaped inside. Placing the car into drive, I floored the accelerator, speeding away from the scene. My girlfriend, sensing my fear, bombarded me with questions, but I reassured her that I would explain later. We returned to the shadier side of town before heading back to her house. Seeking solace in her room, I shared the unnerving encounter with her. Displaying the photograph, she mirrored my feelings of unease. Understanding our apprehension, she allowed me to stay the night, considering it was a Friday and we had no work or school the following day. That incident remains the most terrifying moment of my life. Although we are no longer in a romantic relationship, my girlfriend and I have remained best friends. Now in my early 20s and now in our early 20s as well, we continue to support and confide in each other. Story 3, titled The Desolate Detour. It was a moonless night as Mark set off on his usual route, driving home after a late shift at work. The road ahead stretched out before him, enveloped in darkness. Mark lived in a small town where the quiet streets and dimly lit houses created an eerie atmosphere. Most of the town's residents had long since retired for the night. Mark's hands tightened around the steering wheel as he navigated the empty roads. The occasional flickering street lamp offered fleeting glimpses of his surroundings. The familiar monotony of the journey started to weigh on him, and a sense of unease began to creep into his thoughts. As he approached a crossroad, a sudden impulse seized him. Without warning, he turned onto a narrow, less traveled road that he had never ventured down before. It was as if an invisible force was guiding him, steering him away from the familiar and into the unknown. The path twisted and turned, taking Mark deeper into the heart of the countryside. The road grew narrower, bordered by dense woods on one side and open fields on the other. The air inside the car grew colder, chilling Mark to his core despite the warmth from the heater. An unsettling silence settled over the surroundings, broken only by the occasional rustling of leaves and the distant hooting of an owl. Mark's heart pounded in his chest, an unshakable feeling of being watched tugging at his senses. His gaze fixed on the road ahead, Mark caught a glimpse of something out of the corner of his eye, a figure standing at the edge of the woods. His foot instinctively eased off the accelerator and he squinted into the darkness, trying to discern the mysterious silhouette. It appeared to be a person, motionless and watching him intently. Curiosity mingled with apprehension, compelling Mark to investigate. He brought the car to a halt and stepped out, the chilly night air biting at his skin. As he approached the figure, a chill ran down his spine. It was a woman, her features hidden beneath a tattered shawl, her eyes reflecting a glimmer of something otherworldly. The woman's voice was a mere whisper as she beckoned to Mark, her words carried on the wind. A sense of dread settled over him, but a morbid curiosity propelled him forward. He hesitantly followed her into the dense thicket of the woods. The path grew treacherous, branches clawing at his clothes, and an overpowering scent of decay filled the air. Mark's rational mind screamed at him to turn back, but an inexplicable force seemed to guide his every step. Panic mingled with fascination as he delved deeper into the haunting wilderness. Suddenly, the woman vanished before his eyes, leaving Mark stranded in the heart of the desolate forest. Panic seized him and he turned to retrace his steps. Yet, the path he had taken had transformed. The once recognizable trail had become an intricate labyrinth, seemingly shifting and rearranging itself. Mark's heart raced as he realized he was lost, trapped in a nightmarish maze with no escape. Sinister whispers echoed through the trees, taunting and disorienting him. Shadows danced menacingly around him, each one whispering its own macabre secret. Hours blended into an eternity as Mark wandered aimlessly, his mind teetering on the brink of madness. Shapes twisted and contorted in the darkness, and malevolent eyes stared at him from hidden corners. The very fabric of reality seemed to unravel before his eyes, a nightmarish realm weaving itself into existence. Just as despair threatened to consume him, a glimmer of light flickered in the distance. Summoning the last vestiges of his strength, Mark stumbled towards the beacon of hope, breaking free from the grip of the twisted woods. As he emerged, disheveled and trembling, he found himself on the outskirts of his town, the familiar lights and sounds providing a stark contrast to the nightmarish ordeal he had just endured. Haunted by the experience, Mark returned home, vowing to keep his ill-fated detour a secret. The memory of that sinister night drive lingered in his mind, a chilling reminder that there are realms beyond our comprehension, lurking just beyond the veil of our perception.